While Doom was easily the most popular FPS of the early 90s, it certainly wasn't the only one, as Doom clones are dropping left and right, leaving us with iconic games like Duke Nukem 3D, Blood, Chex Quest, and even a few published by id Software like Heretic and Hexen. Now that Doom is doing better than ever and a new wave of boomer shooters have introduced so many newcomers to the genre, it's the perfect time for Raven to leave Call of Duty behind and work on rebooting their iconic FPS franchise. As unlikely as it may sound, the future of the dormant series is starting to look incredibly hopeful after the recent Activision Blizzard acquisition has finally put things into motion, although recent findings suggest that there may have been attempts to revive the series in the years prior to the purchase. The LinkedIn profile of a former Raven developer was recently discovered, where the employee was listed as the lead developer on a very small incubation team on 2 highly playable, well-developed prototypes as proof of concept for a revival of a classic Raven IP. They supposedly worked on an unreleased sequel to a classic Raven IP from June of 2019 until March of 2020, when they would then start working on the Call of Duty franchise before leaving Activision and joining ZeniMax Online Studios. Raven doesn't have too many original IPs that are old enough to be considered classics. The only 2 somewhat popular franchises are Heretic and Soldier of Fortune, so it's honestly incredibly likely that one of the 2 projects was related to the dormant fantasy FPS franchise. We currently don't know what happened to these 2 prototypes or exactly what they are, but one thing is certain. Even if neither of them were a sequel to Hexen, we'll still be seeing more content from the franchise at some point in the foreseeable future. In the time since Microsoft announced they would be purchasing Activision Blizzard, the head of Xbox Phil Spencer has repeatedly stated that he wants to see Hexen make a return. He's previously said that he would like to see more come from some of the underutilized studios that they've acquired in recent years, but Hexen is one of the only franchises he specifically requested by name. If the head of Xbox himself desperately wants to see another entry in the franchise, then it's pretty likely that we'll eventually get one, there's no doubt about that. During a podcast in October of last year, Spencer once again name-dropped a classic FPS as something that needs to return, before going on to directly mention the Quake 2 remaster as another thing he would like to see more of. After the podcast released, the lead engineer developer at Night Dive Studios posted a tweet mentioning that he and his team would be more than happy to work on a Hexen project, so it seems like there's potential for a remaster as well. Phil Spencer is known for discreetly teasing things during interviews and events, so when he wore an incredibly noticeable Hexen shirt at last year's summer showcase, many assumed this was a hint at what's to come. After the showcase, he did come out and clarify that he was wearing the shirt as a way of showing his love for the games and not as a teaser, but there's no telling if that's entirely true, so I'll let you decide. One of the problems that I see people frequently bring up is that id Software supposedly still owns the publishing rights to the franchise, but both studios are currently under the Microsoft umbrella, and the publishing deal was likely made easier by the 2 acquisitions, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Don't take my word as fact, because I'm not a legal expert and I have no insider knowledge on the current state of the rights situation, but I don't think it's an unfair assumption to make. After ZeniMax acquired id Software in 2009, a deal was made where they would keep the publishing rights and Raven would have the development rights, meaning that even though Raven still needs them to publish the game, id Software can't actually make a new Hexen on their own as things currently stand. This pretty much dismisses any theories or rumors based around the idea that id is working on something like that instead of a new Doom or a Quake game, since they started working on their next project before the acquisition had been finalized, and I doubt they would want to reach out to give a dev rights when they already had their own underutilized properties. id Software has been known to do outsourcing from time to time. They've recently worked on some of Starfield's mechanics, and they've supposedly been helping Machine Games with their upcoming Indiana Jones title. So it would be possible for them to work on another Heretic or Hexen even if they're not the main developers. There is another Xbox Developer Direct coming up later this week on the 18th, but this is a smaller event with a big focus on finally revealing the upcoming Indiana Jones project, so you shouldn't expect anything. Night Dive Studios clearly hasn't been working on a remaster of any sorts. id Software's next project is too big to get a reveal at a smaller event, and Machine Games has been working on indie, so a Wolfenstein reveal is out of the picture. The 2024 Summer Showcase would be the earliest we can expect to see something from id Software, and I doubt we'll be hearing anything about Hexen this year, but don't lose hope, some sort of reveal will come soon enough. Fans of the boomer shooter genre will be eating good this year. Aside from the vast array of great indie titles, we'll also be getting more content for Doom, possibly including a Mortal Kombat crossover. Click on the video that's on screen now to learn more. Thank you all so much for watching today's video, I hope you enjoyed it. That's pretty much all that I have for now though, until next time.